Three young bears explore very different worlds. Over their first 3 years of life, they face dramatic challenges. And moments of great tenderness. It's the ultimate field course, where they will learn their bear essentials. Two young brown bears explore a chilly hillside. For 3 months, they slept away winter in a den on the slopes. The cubs are hungry, but there's no sign of their mother. For the first time, they have to stand on their own 2 feet. Many cubs don't make it through their first year of independence, but their mother taught the twins well. The confident female knows what she's doing, rooting for bulbs and grubs. Digging is a brown bear speciality and a lifesaver in the early days of spring. Her brother seems less mature in his skills, munching easy-to-reach flowers. For over a month, they have stayed in the hills, enjoying seasonal greens, gradually making their way to lower elevations. Taking every meal opportunity will be the key to survival in what will be their most challenging year. Of the 8 species of bears, the brown is the most widespread. The secret of their success: they are generalist. Bears are adaptable and eat anything. But in the hot, humid jungles of India, there is a cousin with unusual tastes, the sloth bear. Like the brown bears, he's a youngster, learning to make it on his own. He's perhaps living up to his slothful name and looking for shortcuts to a free meal. He has an eye on some monkeys, not as food, but as food finders. Jackfruits. The largest fruit to grow on trees, it can reach 36 kilos, each fruit providing more than 3,000 calories for a hungry bear. It's something new, a bizarre, prickly fruit. It takes a while to find a way in. Luckily, bear paws are versatile tools. At the moment, it's just windfall and monkey leftovers. He still needs to learn how to pick a ripe fruit, but doesn't have much patience. His sensitive nose should be the key, but it seems to need some training. The greener the fruit, the tougher it will be to tear into. The truth is, fruit is not his bag, just a seasonal treat. Like most bears, he will eat just about anything. But there is one particular dish of the day he craves. As he was taught by his mother, like countless generations of sloth bears before him, he finds his way to a termite mound. He skillfully demolishes the insect's fortress. His long, rubbery lips make a tube through which he can suck up the bugs. The dry ground is hard as cement, so it takes a while to fill his stomach. He has to carry on his munching by moonlight. But nightfall in India is midday in the Arctic. Another bear is in his third year. But while the sloth and brown bears enjoy the riches of summer, this bear is challenged by the heat. The largest land predator, the polar bear, also known as the ice bear. Though as summer's heat grips the Arctic, he's finding ice in short supply. The open water is great for long-tailed ducks, but not for a bear looking for food. It soon becomes clear that he is not the only one without a place to stay. There's around 10 million square kilometers of winter pack ice, and every summer, more and more of it melts. He finds himself at sea for several days. Like sloth bears, the polar is a specialist, the most carnivorous of the family, feeding on the blubbery mammals of the Arctic. Seals are his mainstay, but when the ice melts, they are almost impossible to catch in open water. He must swim for shore. Like seals and whales, polar bears are often considered marine mammals, completely at home swimming hundreds of miles in open sea. But when he makes landfall, he's in for a surprise. Tourists, photographers and researchers flock to the Arctic to see polar bears, but it's not often they get this close. The smell of visitors and their food is something the bear cannot resist. Polar bears can be man-eaters, keeping everyone on their toes. This is the toughest place to make a living, and polar bears are trained from birth to investigate everything as a potential source of food. The bathroom has an alluring smell. With great skill, he cracks the safe. But apart from a lick of toothpaste, it doesn't have much to offer. The visitors to the Arctic have had a remarkable experience, but for the bear, it's been rather disappointing. His nose makes a more promising discovery, a walrus haul-out, a potential source of much-needed meat. But a 2-ton, well-armed walrus is not an easy target. and the youngsters are well protected within the herd. For their lazy, bulky appearance, walrus are surprisingly alert and agile. The male needs to work on his technique. If he doesn't get his act together, this harsh landscape will claim his life, like many before him. The polar bear faces a long, lonely and frustrating night. During the Arctic summer, the sun never sets. He dozes in the twilight. Does he perhaps dream of his humble beginnings 3 years ago, transported in his memory from a cold, lonely beach to a warm den and the comforting embrace of his mother? He and his 2 sisters were born in deep winter and spent several months cooped up in the dark. At birth, they were smaller than guinea pigs, but their mother produces milk with 10 times the fat content of human milk. Now 3 months old, the cubs are 10 times heavier. But while they're piling on the pounds, their mother's wasting away. There's nothing for her in the den. She's been living off body fat until today. His first glimpse of sunlight. The cubs discovered this world is much bigger than they first thought. It's a lot for the young bear to take in. But Mum's persistent. He doesn't have a choice, forced to ride it out. From his piggyback position, he can survey his vast, cold playground for the first time. Even in summer, the temperature swings from +10 to -10 degrees centigrade. Climbing skills are one of the bear family's trademarks. Whether it's climbing trees, mountains, or their mothers, bears are pretty good at it. But polar bears, in their flat, open tundra, spend most of their time with all 4 feet on the ground. It's going to take a while for the triplets to get used to this vast wilderness. Luckily, Mother supplies reassuring hot milk. The power drink is offered to polar bear cubs for around their first 2 years. But right from the start, the little male has to fight for survival, trying to secure a place at the bar despite his boisterous sisters. Perhaps competing with his siblings now will build his strength for later in life. The polar bear's rich diet, first creamy milk and later blubbery mammals, enable them to build a layer of insulating fat, which in adults can be 10 centimeters thick. But now, both mother and cubs lack fat, and so will avoid swimming in freezing seas. A dry fur coat is their best defense against the cold. The Arctic is one of the most hostile and unforgiving places a bear could live. But like most bears, our boy has a doting mother, ready to risk her life to protect her cubs. Across the globe, another mother's geared up to help her little ones. When our Sloth Bear began his journey, he had a little brother. Most bears have twins or sometimes triplets every 3 years. For this species, piggyback is the norm. The cubs have tremendously strong paws, even from birth, so that they can grip mum's long fur. Having to hold on isn't enough to dissuade the young brothers from play fighting, until mum threatens to turn the ride around if they don't settle down. But in the dangerous forests of India, our family is being watched. The leopard wouldn't attack an adult sloth bear, but could spell disaster for the cubs. Bear cubs are precocious and constantly exploring, but curiosity can come at a cost. Our young bear makes it to safety, but for his twin, it's too late. A valuable life lesson has been learned, but there will be many more to come. From now on, it's just him and his mother. At this age, just 6 months old, his mum is his world, though she rarely wants to play, so he looks elsewhere. Mongoose. They are very territorial animals and seem to be constantly bickering with each other. But would they play with the little bear? Maybe not. Like all sloth bears, he and his mother spend a lot of time in the safety of caves. Mongoose and bat neighbors are a good alarm system. For all species, the biggest threat to cubs is other bears. This male sniffing around, looking for a receptive female. Mother isn't about to risk losing another cub. He doesn't want to take no for an answer. Sloth bears live up to a fiery reputation. Supermom saves him again. Spending his childhood in caves keeps him cool and safe for his first year of life. For baby bears, just getting around can be dangerous. Polar bears have broad feet and hair between the toes to act like snowshoes. While his sisters wrestle, the little male cub's intent on exploring every nook and cranny. But curiosity killed the cat. The sisters' calls draw help. Luckily, Mum's a better digger than he is. But while Mum's busy, headstrong sister has wandered off. Maybe she fell victim to a hungry male polar bear or succumbed to the cold. She was never seen again. It's a massive blow to the family. Life's tough in this icy realm. Nearly half of polar cubs don't survive their first year, a cruel fact of life on ice. How did the brown bear twins' childhood vary 3 years ago? In the northern forests, these are the ultimate tree huggers. These two young cubs, a boy and a girl, are having their first lesson. The little female, striving for independence, has got to the top, but now she is not so sure about getting down again. Mum will have to show her how it's done. Survival books say brown bears can't climb trees, but some can. She chomps her teeth to call them together. Time to try again. In this forest home, tree climbing is essential for the cub's survival. Like the polar bears, these cubs were born in winter in their mother's den. Now, just a few months old, they are on a steep learning curve. The chomping is a useful way to communicate, though just one of 11 calls brown bears make, and that's in addition to scent marking and body language. It's a lot for the little guys to master. Top marks in gym class today. Like all kinds of bears, the bond to mother is strong. She'll do her best to protect her little ones for their first 3 years of life. Play is the best lesson of all. Not only fun, but it strengthens their bodies and improves coordination. Though enjoying themselves, the cubs are becoming aware of the dangers of the forest and listen intently to every strange sound. Solitary male bears, weighing 3 times more than a human, prowl the forests looking for a mate, and will kill cubs for the chance to breed with their mothers. Up to 40% of brown bear cubs don't survive their first year, and male bears are the #1 cause of death. School's out for today. From those frightened cubs, the twins have come a long way. Three years on, the female is not only independent, but old enough to have adult issues. She's been caught out trying to enjoy a snack in the bath. A large male is on the prowl, but for once, he's not after food. He's caught the alluring scent of the young female. She's parted company from her brother and is nearly old enough to start a family of her own, and the big male knows it. At first, she doesn't seem too thrilled to have her bath time interrupted. He'll be willing to hang around for days or even weeks to win her heart and keep suitors at bay. But he's not the only male drawn to the promise of sex. The smaller of the two males realizes he's met his match and backs down. Time for the big boy to claim his prize. Meanwhile, her brother is after food. Male bears mature slower than females, and it will be a few more years before he has any interest in girls. Right now, it's his stomach on his mind. Bears can sniff out carcasses from as far as 2 miles away. His sensitive nose is onto something, but others have got there first. Wolves and bears are each other's top competition. There is not much left of a rotting carcass in the marsh, but it's worth fighting over. The male goes in to claim the prize, but watched from all sides. The wolves try to bait the bear, drawing him away from the carcass. They only have 1/6 of his bulk, but they have speed, agility, and numbers on their side. But he's stubborn and powerful. The wolves know a blow from his paw could break their backs. He's succeeded, and this time the wolves will go hungry. Summer is taking its toll on our male polar bear. While he's grounded, there isn't much to eat. But today it seems fate is throwing him a bone. A whalebone. Whales often pass close to the shore, sometimes too close. The smell of a whale carcass drifts along the beach. In the Arctic, nothing goes unnoticed, and there is already quite a crowd enjoying the feast. Polar bears are usually solitary, but when there is an abundance of food, they will aggregate, tolerating their neighbors. With a whale-sized meal, there is plenty to go around. To get to the remains, he must pass some huge males. As the biggest and baddest, they ate first, and after several days of gorging, are bloated and trying to sleep it off. This was a small bowhead whale, offering around 50 tons of nutritious meat and blubber. There isn't much meat on the bones now, but our bear's not complaining. The first time he scavenged like this, he was 2 years old. It was also summertime. He, his mother and sister were high and dry on the tundra. The family are hungry and, as always, follow their noses. But during the Arctic summer, polar bears are not the only creatures forced ashore. Walruses must also search for protected beaches where they can rest after diving for food. But the season can be tough on them too, and a loss for the walrus herd is a lifeline for the polar bears. The remains of a 2-ton walrus lies on the beach. There is already a family on site, but there's enough to go around, providing the bears watch their manners and wait their turn. With a blubbery feast, the chances are good that they will make it to winter. This is the cubs' 2nd year, and they are doing well. This time next year, they will be on their own. So right now, every life lesson counts. The first winter storms roll in across the tundra. During summer, the polar bears have been landlocked, but it won't be long before sea ice forms and they can go wandering in search of food. Restless and hungry, many bears have gathered, queuing up ready to depart, including some huge males. Twice the size of the female, these big bears are the largest land carnivores on Earth. They could represent a serious threat to the cubs, but seem more interested in venting their frustrations on each other. This is a chance for them to establish a pecking order, each knowing its place. Later, when it comes to mating or feeding, the winner takes all. But one hungry young male, not yet old enough to fight with the big boys, is showing an interest in the cubs. Mum is not taking any chances. The family have been patient, waiting for the sea ice to harden. But finally, it's thick enough to support the bears, and their exodus begins. This is where the polar bears prefer to be, and they will spend the long dark days of winter walking the ice and hunting seals, only seeing land again when the spring thaw forces them ashore. For polar bears, summer is tough, but for the 2-year-old brown bear twins, it's a time of plenty. In the northern summer, bees make the most of the sunshine. A hollow log has been strung up by farmers hoping for honey. But everyone knows bears love honey. The cubs are larger now and confident climbers. She can smell what's there, but how to get to it? Bears are brainy, and using agility and strength, the sister secures a meal for the family. Naturally, the bees are not too thrilled about the interruptions. Before the family has the chance to dip into the honeypot, they have an uninvited dinner guest. A male heard the falling log and wants in. But crime doesn't always pay. His bullish attempts to break open the hive continue to anger the bees. It seems the big bear's not as tough as he makes out. Cautiously, the family returns. Mum shows the twins how it's done. She stays close to the ground, trying not to get in the firing line of the angry insects. Time to enjoy a well-earned and somewhat sticky supper. When they were 2 years old, all our cubs were doing well. Our Sloth Bear's still learning on the job. But he remembers everything his mother told him and uses that experience to help him find food. With immense strength, he lifts rocks in search of ants, though the pickings are meager. It's summer and the earth's baked hard. Insects are far underground, difficult to excavate. Lugging rocks is hard, hot work, but relief is on its way. Riches reign on the forests of India. But despite the rich pickings, it's not food on the young bear's mind. There is a lady in town. Sloth bears reach maturity faster than other species. The male's only 3 years old, but already his hormones are raging. Playing hard to get, female bears often lead the males a merry dance. They need to make sure that he's up to the job of giving her healthy babies. The rain dampens the romantic mood. But it's not a good time to go off duty. The female is still hanging around, but has attracted another admirer. A rival male, huffing and puffing his desire. He must have picked up the female's scent. But will this scruffy-looking old-timer have any more luck than our handsome young bear? She seems keen to give him the brush off. It's all about personal space. The young male heard the scuffle. Now he's full grown, around 130 kilos. He's ready to take on the stranger. If he can win the fight, he'll stand a better chance of winning her heart. A bear wrestle is as much posturing as actual violence, showing off greater size and stamina. Though a few bites are aimed at those soft, sensitive lips. The old-timer is banished. And it seems the young lady is suitably impressed. Our 3-year-old sloth bear might have found his first mate. The Arctic summer has been a tough challenge for our growing polar bear, but finally change is in the air. The long days are drawing in. Ice sheets are starting to form, and our young bear can't get out on them soon enough. He's got by through scavenging, as testified by his dirty head. Now is his chance to hunt the polar bear's favorite prey, seal pups. The mother sees him coming and uses a breathing hole to disappear beneath the ice, leaving her vulnerable-looking pup alone. Not as helpless as it looks. Once again, he goes charging in with little thought of strategy. To prove he has the bare essentials to survive another year, he must make a kill. The seals are wary. The key to the hunt is stealth. He must take them by surprise before they dive for cover. The Arctic itself decides to offer a helping hand. His presence is cloaked by the blizzard. Using his nose, he locates a potential target. Success. With 1,200 pounds per square inch in his bite, the death is instantaneous. The seal barely saw it coming. This adult seal, rich in blubber, will keep him going for weeks. He's well on his way as a master of the ice. Winter is the time of the polar bear, but for brown bears, it's the season to sleep. Most are already deep in hibernation, but some will wake up and forage even in midwinter. The young male has stayed up longer than most. In these hard times, even a little bit of carrion is worth the effort. But the wolves are shadowing him. This time, he knows he's outnumbered and doesn't want to waste precious energy driving them off. He grabs a snack for the road and splits. The wolves want to make sure he's gone. They will be active all through the tough months and will need every calorie they can find. Our young male, on the other hand, will find a warm place to sleep. Though things don't always go in their favor, bears are top predators with the bare essentials to survive. Against the odds, and with a few losses along the way, our young families have triumphed thanks to their dedicated mothers and their natural strength and curiosity. If they remain bold, adaptable, and brave, they will enjoy long and happy futures, perhaps one day imparting their skills to the next generation.